All right, every day is something exciting that's happening, right? And real estate is going to crapola, man. I mean, it's going to be bad. But remember, people like to overgeneralize everything all the time. They're like, David, so are you telling me this is a good city to buy in or not a good city? Listen, it's so nuanced. There's so many different little things that you have to look at, because commercial is different from residential, is different from condos, different from houses, right? And so, you know, when I was younger, I was like, just give me the answer. I just want to know the answer. But it's not really like that, because everybody is different. Everyone's time horizon is different. Do you have kids? How much money do you have in the bank? How much are you going to risk? That's why a lot of the times I talk in percentages and I don't talk about dollars, because if you talk in percentages, it doesn't really matter what country you're in. It doesn't really matter, you know, what socioeconomic area you're in. It can help you no matter what. That's why I speak in those numbers all the time, because I think it can help you. But what I want you to think about all the time is, how do you make more money? But in 2008, this was a different scenario than what we are now. Then we had a lot of houses. Now we don't. And this thing that's happening with Jackson Hole, where he's going to continue to raise prices. Listen, I'm putting myself out there, okay? I believe certain things are going to happen, and there's so many talking heads on YouTube and everything else that they're telling you sometimes the opposite. But many times, just think about this for me. What is their incentive to tell you this? So, I mean, if you're going to talk to a mortgage agent or a realtor in your area, and he's like, now's the best time to buy low, buy the dip. If they're telling you that and they have an incentive for you to buy from them later, think twice about it. That's what I would say. It's not necessarily the best deal. I want you to be careful. Be really, really careful when it comes to that. So I think that the rates are going to be going up in Canada 0.75%. Why do I say that? Well, because 92% of the time, Canada follows the United States. So we think it's going to go up. And there is realtors all over TikTok, Instagram right now that says, oh, September's going to be a boom. So don't be getting suckered into that. And they base that based on historical numbers, that in September, everyone puts their kids in school and starts buying. So don't be doing that. Like right now, if you go talk to the mortgage refinance companies that are out there, the mortgage refinance companies are laying off almost all their employees. I mean, bloodbath. These guys are all getting laid off. Nobody is refinancing from last year at 2% to this year at 6 or 7. It's not happening. So the mortgage refinance guys are gonzo. The mortgages, people who are selling mortgages, they're getting laid off all over the place. Laid off. We have just as many people getting laid off now as we did in 2008. But everybody wants to just coddle everybody and say, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Now, I want you to think back. Please name me one government in one country at any year that said, we're heading into recession, guys. They don't. They want to keep telling you it's okay. We got this. When there's blood on the streets, don't worry, no panic, because if the public panics, then we have 1929, right? The Great Depression all over again. Nobody wants that. So you can't panic. I understand that. But you can't keep going the way that we're going like this. This is just insanity to me. So we have to be able to be adults ourselves and be able to say, I know what's going to happen here. And it doesn't take a genius, does it? Does it really take a genius? Does it take a genius to figure out that the interest rates are going to keep going higher and higher and higher? I mean, it's not even like it's a surprise. They're saying it's going to happen, right? And right now in Toronto, the average mortgage rate is up $1,073. It's going to continue. They're going to be raising rates more by the end of this year. So it could be $1,400 is the average. And people don't have that. Now, everyone says, well, the banks had these stress tests where they added 2% to your rate just in case they raised it. But they're raising it way over 2%. Okay, but what the banks didn't account for is the fact that there's huge amount of inflation on new cars. There's a huge amount of inflation on used cars, food, gas, and everything else. And people are now going to be running into a terrible decision. How are they going to pay for food? How are they going to pay for gas, their kids? Like, first of all, take care of your kids, right? But we are running into a time now where people are going to have to make these bad choices between medicine and everything else. And I think the worst is yet to come. So, you know, I'm putting myself out there by saying that it's going to go down. So we have two choices, really. Two choices. It's going to perma-bull. Everything is going to be fine. It's going to go back up. Or what really is going to happen. So either I'm going to be having to eat my own hat and eat crow, or I'm going to be very, very right. And if you happen to think that everybody has an extra $1,500 just lying around every month and an extra $1,000 to pay for all the other expenses that have gone up, if you think that's a reality, I got some bad news for you. People don't have it. People didn't have it in 2019, having all this extra money lying around. So if that is the case, what on earth could possibly happen now? The reality is a lot of bad stuff. A lot of bad things can happen. And if we go look right now, the number of homes like in the US are equivalent to what it was in 2008. Tons of homes on the market. And when there's tons of homes on the market, the prices are going to continue to fall. Supply and demand. It's the same thing with money, right? When the government was flooding the market with money, the interest rates fell. Now the interest rates are catching up. So we always have to pay attention to these little things, right? And this is where it's hard to be an adult. Honestly, man, when I was a kid, I was trying to figure this out. Being an adult is hard. How do you make it in a country that is lying to you all the time? How do you make it when the banks are lying to you all the time? We just were talking to Canada Life Insurance, and they just said, yep, we're stopping to pay for all drugs over XXXX. And they just changed their mind because they're going after money and making it really, really difficult for people. So now they're not going to pay for certain drugs. Then the pensions are running out of money. But everyone just says, it's okay. It's okay. We all have it under control. Really? So how do you survive in a world where every company and everybody is lying to you all the time? You need to be smart. You need to read through the BS and try and see the forest through the trees, right? So this is where we are. We're trying to always read this stuff, obsess over it, read about it, understand how the world works. People don't have all this extra money. Their wages are not keeping up. So it's inevitable that this is going to go down. How far down? Already right now, what I'm seeing is worse than 2008. And I think it's going to be a lot worse. Just give it some time, because it all depends how much people have in savings. And so, yeah, we did have a lot of savings, but we are seeing savings accounts drop nationally, and we're seeing credit card rates skyrocketing. So how long can that last? See, like, I don't have a crystal ball of what the day is that's going to break it. So I'm not a day trader. That's not what I do. But if you look in large pieces of the country, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that if people don't have all that money hanging around, they'll end up going to be losing their home, right? And when they do lose everything, it's miraculously, like crazy in a bad way, fast. So just imagine though, like, I had a big house, I had a car, I had all of this money sitting around, and then I ran out of money, no job. Well, I didn't lose my car that day. I'm now putting it on a credit card, and I come right to the line and I'm almost going to lose everything. I get a new credit card. I start burning through that credit card. But inevitably, you're going to end where you can't borrow any more money, and then within 30 days or something, you're going to lose your house, lose your car, lose everything. You're going to be living in a box, a cardboard box outside. So, you know, it happens really, really fast. So we'd always rather be a year early than a day late. What would I be telling everybody right now? If you were going to buy a house, do not buy a house, man. Don't buy a house right now. Prices are going to be dropping a lot more as these interest rates bite. And look at the resolve coming from the US that is leading the economic charge. They do not want to back down. So I'm telling everyone, I would not be buying a house right now, especially your own home that maybe is kind of bigger. If you're going to be looking at buying something that is like a small rental home that can throw off some cash flow, then we're going to need all the money we can get in these times, right? So look for deals. Yes, look for deals. Try to stack some cash, buy gold and silver, especially silver right now is super cheap. The gold to silver ratio has only been this cheap 3 times in history. So I think it's a great idea for you to be getting some gold and silver. That's amazing. And open a small business. These times are the best to open small businesses. So I think it's amazing that you could try to open a business. If we look at real estate agents, it's $10,000 about, you know, for you to have in the bank for you to be able to get your license, and it's $10,000 a year to maintain your license, all your licenses. There's so many licenses and insurances. So you think that in a city like Toronto, where there's the more real estate agents than anywhere in North America per capita, it's the most dense. New York City, for heaven's sakes, only has 25,000. You think that many people are going to continue to pay their real estate fees? Hell no. So then there's going to be so much less agents that are out there, and it's going to be saving my life. It's going to be amazing because I'm still there. So what does Warren Buffett say? When the tide goes out, you're going to see who's swimming naked. So all these pretenders who are driving around in their Teslas and stuff, but then when you look at their stats, they only sold 1 house in a whole year. Okay, we'll see. But you know what? Everyone has to put their chips and see where they lie, right? And this is where everybody is freaked out because they call this the everything bubble, where everything is collapsing. You know, crypto is down, stock market is down, housing is down, and your dollar is losing 15% per year through inflation. So where do you go when cash isn't safe either, right? And that's why I say you should have a little bit of Bitcoin, silver, a little bit of gold, a little bit of Ethereum, right? You got to have some of that and be opening a business, getting skills that can help other people. The amount that you're going to get paid is going to be relative to how much you can help other people. And so, you know, we're writing up some courses these days, and these courses are just teaching people how, if you have the right amount of net worth right now, how to retire in 36 months. And so if you can teach people and help them with that stuff, then you could do really, really well, right? So that's what I think that you should be investing in. Keep your eyes open. About a year and a half ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he asked me, he said, Dave, like, how long do we have to do this for? And I told him, you're gonna have to work until we recover. And he's like, what the hell do you mean recover? We haven't had any problems. Like, the economy's on fire. I said, I know, but it will crash. And when it crashes, that is the time that you need to be buying. And you need to continue buying until there's a recovery. Woo, so bright today, guys. So you need to do that. This is near the power plant. They have these really cool places here. It looks like where they have weddings, but they have yoga here and kids come here. So, you know, you have to work until the economy recovers. So look at where the S&P 500 or something was before the crash in February, March 2020, okay, before that. When it gets back to that, then we can stop working. But if you commit to yourself to be learning, number one, and making money as the economy goes down and then recovers back to that line, you'll be able to retire. So how long is a recovery? A recovery is normally 18 months, something like that. Could be 2 years on really, really bad ones. Okay, so if you just go out right now and buy every book that you can on building a business, any book that you can on financial literacy, and read it and study it, open a business doing that, and then continue to obsessively learn about it over and work for 2 years, then you could retire forever. Why wouldn't you do it? So wouldn't it be great that you don't have to go to work? You just work if you like it? I mean, that's what I want for all of you. And you can do that. This is the best time. So I know it's scary, but be happy about it. All right, guys, so if this helps at all, can you please send it to one person that you think this would help? And please remember to like and subscribe to this and hit that notification bell. I would really appreciate it if you can, help me out a little bit. These things take a long time to put together, and we got a great team that helps us put all this together. So thanks, everybody, for helping us and trying to change the world.